And joining me now is Celeste Power, who's a spokesperson with the Insurance Bureau of Canada. Welcome to the Peel Weekly News video, Celeste.
Hi, Mark. Thanks for having me.
Talk a little bit about this coming election. I mean, is your organization and your members, are they kind of looking at this election and wondering, what's coming in terms of changes to regulatory regimes and all these other things that might come up during the course of an election campaign and have an impact on how you guys do business?
Well, to be honest with you, everyone agrees on one thing, I feel, in Ontario, and that's that the auto insurance system just isn't working. It's not working for insurers, it's not working for governments, and it's not working for consumers. So the way we see this as is a nice opportunity to talk about innovative solutions to benefit consumers. We're hoping to see some changes that will benefit both consumers' pocketbooks, but also how the auto insurance system is delivered.
What type of changes would your organization like to see?
Well, really, at this time, given we're partway through an election, we're really just willing to sit down and talk about anything. We're looking at a blank page and an open book. However, there has been an independent study done by David Marshall. It's been called the Marshall Report. It was very widely accepted by kind of all the players in the auto insurance system. And it really did a very good diagnosis of all of the issues, perhaps one of the best diagnoses done. It left nobody unscathed. Everyone kind of came out with something that needed to be worked on, but it did have a lot of good solutions in there that were benefiting consumers, which is what we're looking for. So we'd be interested in talking about the David Marshall Report, looking at some of the independent recommendations that he made and seeing how we can implement them over time.
Have you heard anything from the various leaders and candidates that you want to talk about? I mean, the Liberals have made commitments vis-a-vis, presumably aimed at helping consumers. Are you aware of the commitments that the Liberal Party of Ontario has made?
Well, we heard that they made an announcement last week on postal codes. And just for your listeners and viewers' information, the government actually sets the rating factors that insurers can use. So we are kind of abiding to the government's rating factors. And they are how often you use your car, what you use your car for, the model and type of your car, your age, your driving history, and one of them, being the one the Liberals spoke about last week, is where you live. So we're aware of that. And our response to that was simply, the auto insurance system isn't working. We abide by these rules set by governments, but we're happy to sit down and talk about other ways that we can do this.
Yeah, but presumably their commitment is aimed at a sense of unfairness that some people have, that they're being penalized simply because of the city or area of the province in which they live. I mean, specifically Brampton.
Well, I don't really want to defend the postal code as a rating factor because, again, we're very open to talking about these rating factors. But my understanding is that these are used based on actual science that shows in certain areas thefts, fraud, collisions are higher. And in those areas, when they're higher, that is used as a rating factor. But this could also be positive for some people, say in Ottawa, where thefts, collisions, and fraud are very low. So if you're in one of those areas, it actually is beneficial to you. So by taking away the rating factor in one area, it actually could be disproportionately. It would not be beneficial to someone in another area. And also there are 5 rating factors, right? There are the other ones I mentioned. So while where you live is one of them, it is only one of them. So it will affect people differently. Perhaps you think, oh, I have a very high driving record and it's because of where I live. Maybe it's because of where you live. Maybe it's because of the type of car you drive. Maybe it's because you're driving it for part commercial use, part non-commercial use. There are many factors involved. But again, we're very open to sitting down and talking about the recommendations that the independent advisor David Marshall made and anything else on the table, innovation being one of them, really looking to make this work for all consumers regardless of any of those factors.
What would happen if the government were to say, all right, no, you're not going to be able to do that anymore, insurance industry, because we're going to make sure that everybody is treated, quote unquote, fairly? Would there be an offsetting negative impact on areas that have, say, positive levels of theft and
There could
fraud? Is
be.
that what the impact is? I'm just trying to read on what.
Yes, there certainly could be. If you're living in an area right now where this is a a positive rating factor for you, and there isn't very many collisions or fraud or theft, this could have a negative impact on you. Though at the same time, there are five rating factors. Perhaps once we start talking about one of them, we look at all of them. I do think that there are other good creative solutions out there that everyone could talk about to make this work kind of beneficially for everyone, regardless of any of those factors.
Like what? What type of things would you like to see?
Well, David Marshall had a number of recommendations, sorry, in his report. And really, he was talking about getting the cash out of the system, so care, not cash. He was talking about independent examination centers that have been identified as an issue there, programs of care that have also worked in other areas like WSIB, for example. And also a big one that we do want to talk about is innovation. Because we look at the way we do things now. For example, I can go on a plane today and I can have essentially everything I need on my phone. However, if I'm to get in a car, I need to carry around a piece of paper, a piece of pink paper with me that shows I have insurance. Insurers are not allowed to give you your pink slip via paper. It's a very highly regulated system, and those regulations, unfortunately, are not nimble to the innovations out there today because they were created before any of this was even thought about. So we would like to have more discussions on innovation, how we can innovate our product to help our consumers. And unfortunately, I would like to say we want to join the 21st century, but we're kind of at the point where we want to join the 20th century.
All right. Well, really, I do very much appreciate you spending time with us today and sharing some of your thoughts about the insurance industry and how your industry and I guess consumers will possibly be affected as a result of whatever happens on June 7th during the election.
Yes, thank you very much for having me, Mark. Thank you.